Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Wednesday, the 11th of May. This is Kim Watson speaking for Easy Trader. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see, yesterday actually, when you look at it in finer detail, it was quite a messy, choppy day, and really continued. If you look at this 60-minute, it just continued the previous sort of 2 days, absolute chop in effect over the several hours. Today, well, at the moment, it looks like it's trying to push up higher towards its R1 sort of level. It's yesterday's morning's high there, and that's 60-minute 100. But it's a choppy old market, often not to be trusted. Can't wait for a trend again. But anyway, so here we are sitting in chop at the moment. Okay, not much more to say really. As I said, for the upside, maybe towards the R1, if it actually gets a bit of a wiggle on, it could possibly break that because it's been sitting in quite tight ranges over the past few days, except for the news on Friday. It's 52 pips yesterday, 45 pips on Monday. Ignore the news on the Friday, 44 pips, maybe 50 pips. So the days have been pretty tight bound. We're already in this today done half those pips. If we were to look at sort of a 40-50 pipper, it could bring us up towards this midi, these prior highs, if we get a run to the upside. If it continues and it's sort of, the highs are still lower highs here. We've been putting lower lows in, and if it does start breaking down, maybe across the trend that sits here somewhere, if it starts breaking down, well, we could be on for the S1, in which case it, 30 pips would easily be in range. So it's a bit more than 30 pips, 40 pips. It would easily be in range into the S1 area. But as I say, at the moment, these markets are not the clearest to be reading. Let's see if I can get rid of that. There you go. Okay, let's have a look at the pound. Okay, pound, well, it's at times given a little bit more in the way of intraday trend, but all the same, there's quite a lot of chop going in here. As this chart shows, ranges are slightly better, but intraday chop has been quite high. Running into the R1 a couple of times yesterday, all the way back to the daily pivot, nearly twice there. At the moment, it's not showing us a great deal of direction here. It's got an untouched daily pivot below, which you could see it coming back to touch that, and maybe if it's got any legs in it, maybe to its 60-50, 60-34, 60-50 area. If it starts breaking that area, well, then it's probably better on, maybe on for its S1. But it looks to me, the overall pattern that we're seeing here, if I was to be drawing, it sort of looks like it might just be curving around a little bit here. We did start putting in some higher lows in and starting maybe it's maybe a higher low, but I'd like to see that daily pivot out of the way first. But maybe we're pushing in that direction. But it's with the euro sort of chopping sideways, it's hard to see what these currency pairs are doing at the moment. Okay, dollar yen. Well, that's had the easiest of routes, pushing up again strongly yesterday. A lot of that was done through the Asian session, but it did continue. There were some correction points within the market, and it diverged a little bit in the alleys there later on in the session, and around about 6 o'clock there, pulled back. It's already gone through the daily pivot here and hit the S1. It could, it's diverging here, so maybe we could be seeing a continuation in that sort of upward mode there. It's had a bit of sort of first correction that we've seen for a couple of days, really. So that may have got it out of the way. If it can break the trend line that's coming down across this sort of way, maybe it can continue that surge up. Okay, moving to the Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, there we go. Well, got a decent bounce in the end yesterday and held on to its gains towards the end of the day there. A bit more choppy through trading this morning through the news, and it's just chopped away since then a little bit. Overall, I'm still looking at this sort of bigger picture of a sort of downward trend with a bit of a bear flag going on at the moment. So if it was to start breaking these lows, let me just take this drawing object off and stick the trend line across here. Maybe if it starts breaking, that's not very well drawn, but you can see the principle behind it. If it breaks this low here, we could be on for the daily S1. If it drops in that direction, I'd like to see all the markets moving together, the euro, the pound, and perhaps the Aussie. If not anything else, the Aussie and the Canadian dollar moving together, it would, or correlated rather, it would be good to see that. And maybe we'd get down towards the S1. But even then, yesterday, it wasn't an easy ride. It chopped over the place. We had two peaks there and then eventually pushed up through to the Asian session. But it's not been a clear trading currency at all. Okay, and finally the Canadian dollar, but you know what I'm going to do first. I'm going to just have a quick check on what oil's up to. And oil's in a bit of a chop zone here now as well, which means a bit more of a consistent aspect of the oil part of the play of the Canadian dollar. So let's have a look at the Canadian dollar itself, and it's reacting now to its daily 50, its monthly R1 there. We've seen a bit of a correction yesterday, and it looks like it's just maybe strengthening a little bit. It's still bull flag territory on 4 hourly to me. Maybe bear flag on the dailies if it was to continue rolling over back towards the daily 21 or the 8, somewhere in that region. May give it some better support. But in the intermediate time zone, well, it has, to be fair, broken the trend line that was sort of sitting across these lows around about here somewhere. It's broken that and given us some lower highs and lower lows again. So perhaps it may just continue to the downside, but it's probably early stages. The easiest way to be measuring this is, and if you're looking to get long again, maybe seeing if we see a break of this trend line here. If it breaks back above there, well, it may be a sign back for the bullishness, but it will have, of course, all the moving averages to run into there on its way through. But once through, well, it gives it a clear route up to the technical horizontal resistance levels at the MIDI, and then maybe back into that monthly R1 there. Okay, that's it for me. News-wise today, sorry, before I just finish there. We do have some news, mostly out. We've got manufacturing production in the UK, which could give the pound a bit of volatility around about 9.30. It used to be quite a consistent mover for about 20 pips, and it will be quite high on the agenda just to see how it's rolling at the moment. So I should imagine we'll get some movement off that 9.30 unless it all comes in line. Crude oil inventories at 3.30. So there's and it's 3 o'clock, so we've got the GDP estimate. Sometimes that does give a little bit of a movement, particularly in the current climate. It's some of these figures, these estimates are out and people totally ignore them, but that might just give us a little bit of a blip at 3 o'clock on the pound, so just watch for. But as I say, 3.30 crude oil inventories. That's the main stuff out of the way for today. Not a great news day. Okay, hope you have a great one. Bye for now.